Welcome to Rosalind, the Pet Communicators podcast. Today, we're going to talk about a reading that I did with this little Chihuahua named Emma and all of the people from the other side that came and visited, and how this shocking, tragic death turned into something very beautiful and peaceful. So I have to start the picture and paint how this all came about. I'm in a reading. It's a mom and a dad and a daughter, and the energy is flat and it's all over the place. Actually, it's a lot of different things. And so I go in there and I'm struggling reading because things are flying by me super fast. I can't get anything to like settle down and figure things out. And it was just a little intimidating and overwhelming. So hopefully they didn't really realize how much I was struggling at the beginning, but I really had to explain to them that I'm picking up on everybody's energy. I am going to talk about how they feel. They all three felt different about this 15-year-old little Chihuahua that had passed away. And I was feeling that. And I was there to do a really good job to communicate to them and help them get through the grief process. Way easier said than done. So I asked them, how old was Emma? And they said she was 15. And I said, when did she pass? And they're like, a week ago. A reading that is a week to 4 weeks after an animal passes is completely different than any other type of reading. A lot of times that's healing. A lot of times us humans can't quite grasp that our pets' spirits and souls are still around because we're mourning things so badly. And that makes total sense. So my job is to come in, help with the grief, help with the guilt, put pieces together of whys and hows and shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And could we have, even done anything? So I put those pieces together so that people can have healing. Just a little warning, this is a little harder of a session, but if you bear with me to the end, it's going to be amazing, I promise. It has a very big healing, even though it was hard. In this case, with Emma, the little cute white Chihuahua, she ended up they were at a rest area and another dog came up, and I don't know all the icky details, but before Emma knew it, the dog had picked her up, and she told me she heard two cracks, and I know that I feel like she had made some noise, and then she was gone, and she's like, "What is this?" Or she was not in her body anymore, and whenever her mom picked her up, she was lifeless. She was gone. Emma, you know, could not withstand that tragedy, and it's kind of bad because the people just left. Like, they didn't come and make sure the dog was okay, that the family was okay, anything. That a young kid had the dog, and I keep seeing a car with other people in it, specifically like another woman or a young lady, and they just panicked. And the sad part is, I don't even know if the little boy said anything or the young man, and that also means that that dog would do that again somewhere else. So that's the tough part about and that also means they have to, like, they're gonna have to deal with that. That, they did not get out of this scot-free because I don't care who you are, those pictures and images will not leave you. Anyways, it was hard to read them at the beginning. It was hard to get to that point, but we kept progressing, and I ended up pulling out, like, so many things. So Emma comes with flowers. Emma is a lot of animals have, like, signs and symbols and things. They like flowers or birds or things like that, but Emma specifically likes flowers, and not just one flower, an abundance of flowers. Like, her collar was white with all these wildflowers on it, and it was amazing. And that was another point that I had brought up in the reading to like give them evidence that here is Emma, here she is. She keeps showing me flowers, and sure enough, her collar had flowers all over it with a little nameplate that had her name on there. The thing about that Emma wants all of us to know about her being her last moments of this life is not that. She does not want us to know or think about that. She wants us to think about the 15 years of this tiny little Chihuahua here that did amazing things and loved everybody and was so tiny, but yet so much of a voice that, she didn't let her dad quietly, calmly make her food. She had to bark the whole time. And she was just a presence. Like, because now that she's passed, they definitely miss her, and that just shows how big of a lifetime she had, how much life she had to give, and that's what she wants everyone to remember her by, not her few minutes of demise at the end of her life. She wants everyone to remember her as this spicy little dog that likes clothes and likes to be prissy and likes to be loved and just adored and all of that energy. And at the end of the reading, the parents asked, did anybody there? And I kept feeling the first person that come up because FYI, we can call anybody to a reading just about. Like energies can come in, but they don't always just show up. Sometimes our persnicketies family will show up, but a lot of times they don't show up until we ask about them. And so the first person that showed up was the young lady's dad. Um, well, not young lady, but my client's father who had passed away. He showed up, and Emma had to explain him. Oh my goodness, a little bit like Lisa Frank in a way. She made his hair so silvery blue that I couldn't stop like focusing on it. She made it stand out so much differently. And not too long after she had brought him forward, my client asked about her mother that had also passed away, which was actually Emma's owner. So they got Emma a year ago after her mom had passed. And I was like, this is interesting. So, and I had said, I was like, did your mom pass away? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, did she have this wavy hair? And she's like, yeah. And I said, I keep seeing book and dog and like lap. Like, what do I put in my lap? The book or the dog? And that lingered with me days later. A couple of things about this reading actually lingered with me, and that was one of them. And it was because the mom of the actual, like, owner of Emma always read books, and Emma was always in her lap. And that was just another piece of evidence that of how she was there and how amazingly exciting this was that she could come in and that Emma was not alone. And they asked me, they had this really strange thing that happened, and they have a split level stairs. So, like stairs, 6 or 7 stairs up, and then a platform, and then 6 or 7 stairs that turn back and go all the way up to the second floor. And Emma was so tiny, she could not. I mean, she's short. She's 15 years old. She's Her body's a little stiff, but for the most part, she's so tiny. She could not have gotten up the steps, nor did she feel like she should because she's a princess, so she thinks everybody should carry her anyways. And she ended up being on that middle platform, and nobody could figure out how she got there. And so they asked, they're like, "Do you know? Is Emma going to tell you?" And I said, "Well, I'm not really sure, but she just shows me like floating up them. I don't know, like on a cloud, like she's just floating me. That's what she shows me." And I was like, I don't really know if ghosts or spirits can actually physically move things. I kind of know they can, but I've never seen them actually move a dog, a little chihuahua, like up 6 or 7 steps. That would be very interesting if that could happen. And I said, well, let's, instead of me saying yes or no to it, we see what I think it is. Y'all know what y'all think it is. And it's pretty much the same thing. We think that the mother put her up there. Let's ask the mom that's passed away if she can give us a sign that it was her. And I said, we want something that's green. And I said, kind of like this green. I had a paper on my desk and it was like bright neon green. And I said, more of that Kelly green, but something green. And I said, and if you come across it, I was like, you got to let everybody in the family know so we know. And I said, actually, you got to let me know because I need to know. And the next day, they actually, the child had received something in her school book bag that was a neon green letter of about a school trip. And she sent it to me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, so your mom is the cloud that lifted Emma up to the platform." And that was just another confirmation that we needed, and that was so perfect, and it was great. And then I kept telling him, I was like, "I think you need to plant some flowers for Emma to just remember her." And I said, "But you gotta plant, like, the wild ones, like, the assorted ones, like, all the different colors and things like that." And, I think a week later, or a little less, the little girl got sent home with flowers for her mom. It was seeds, and the seeds are the flowers called Forget Me Not. And I'm like, is that not perfect? And that kind of wraps around with her family as well. It's like Forget Me Not, like with her mom and the dog, and they get to plant those flowers. And the actual color of the seed bag was green. And I was like, gosh, so it's green and it's Forget Me Nots, which represents so much about passing and things like that. It's just one of those things where you never know what the spirits or souls of our animals are gonna bring to us. You never know how it's gonna be, but this was a week later of them tragically losing Emma, not knowing what or how or if they should this all happened at a rest area. They didn't know if they should try to get more cameras in the rest area, cameras that actually recorded and actually like in the parking lots. And they had asked that question, and, were they supposed to like, fight for Emma for something? And I'm like, no, that dog don't fight. So I was like, she's a lover and she just wants to be pampered and something to take care of her. She just wants you to have peace and enjoy your life. And so Emma and all the animals that I work with, they bring such big messages. They want us to remember their legacy and their whole life, not just the sad moments at the end. And they do it so well. And so I just really had to share this story with you today. I hope you enjoy this. If you would like a reading with me, you can go to rosalindpc.com. That's Rosalind the Pet Communicator. But we shortened it to make it easier. And you can also email me, pc@rosalindpc.com. I would love to hear from you guys and know if there's any stories you would like me to tell. I'm going to do a lot more of these readings or briefings on how these readings go and just kind of document this because I have some of the most amazing, energetic readings and I really want everybody to hear about them. And I don't have time to write a book. So, this is how it's gonna come. It's gonna come in podcast form. You can always find me on all the socials or as many socials as I can possibly get on, and I would love to have a reading with your pets. So, I hope you found this great on your little drive to somewhere or while you're exercising or something, and let me know if you enjoyed it. Thanks, guys. Have a great, great day.